For our third set of speakers in this batch, I am pleased to introduce Arushi Jain and Ashish Jain. They are brother and sister who work on, respectively, the InDesign and Illustrator teams in Adobe's Noida office. I never had the privilege of meeting them while I was there, but these teams do a lot of the work on the core Adobe products and are moving ahead with looking for different ways to make type better for everybody, which is the whole promise of computer typography. So they're working with machine learning to try to figure out how to make this take advantage of what's happening these days as the technology gets more and more powerful. All right. With no further ado, I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. Myself, Ashish Jain. So I am a software developer at Adobe who've been working with Adobe InDesign for more than 5 years. I've worked on various features such as typographic related features such as paragraph composition, some AI/ML features, content-aware, you might have heard about it, content-aware wrap, and some core features like grep, text wrap, share for review, etc.
So hello everyone, I'm Arushi Jain, and I'm a software engineer at Adobe, and I've been working there as a software developer in the Adobe Illustrator team. And I work there to deliver some of the typography-related features, and to name a few, some of them are delivering the support for variable fonts, color fonts, and the very recent one is Project Retype. So yeah, we are here together to propose one of our solutions, enhanced paragraph justification with consistent spacing. So yeah, let's start on that. So what is justification? What exactly is justification? So a text is said to be justified when it is aligned and when it is spaced such that it is aligned to both the sides, such that both the sides have a clean edge. And a text can be justified in 4 different ways, as you can see here. Now the first one is justify with last line left align, justify with last line center align, justify with last line right align, and justify all lines. And here you can see that some of the justified text is quite common in publishing segments like magazines, newspapers, etc., as you can see here on the screen. But one of the most common problems with the justified text is poor type color. Let us see this with the help of an example. As you can see here, there are 3 different paragraphs, and all of them have quite contrasting type color. In the first one, you can see it is somewhat loosely spaced, which reflects the type color light. The center one is somewhat compactly spaced. It has less spaces in that, which reflects the type color dark. And the last one has a mix and match of spaces, which is said to be a badly justified text. Here, there is a real-life scenario of a real scan of a newspaper, in which you can see that the first text, the first paragraph, is quite compactly spaced, and the second one is comparatively loosely spaced. Here are some of the more scenarios of a badly justified text. So all these poorly justified text causes visually displeasing text, and it causes distractions in reading, which is quite undesirable. And even some of the professional apps like Adobe InDesign try to solve the problem of poor justification to some extent, but still they leave some scope for improvement. So currently, designers try to do some workarounds in order to properly justify the text or to beautify the text. Like, for example, some of them manual practices that they try out are like manually adding some of the line breaks, or they even try to manually change the typographic parameters of the text, like changing the glyph spacing, changing the glyph scaling, or even the word spacing. And in some cases, they even try out some of the minimal content edits in the text in order to properly justify the text. But eventually, all these processes are manual, and thus they are quite tedious and cumbersome. And even a slight change in the text after doing all these manual process, which may sometimes change the layout of the text, and thus the entire process of manually tweaking the text goes in vain, and the process needs to be replicated again for manually tweaking the text in order to beautify it for the justification. So now we present our proposal of enhanced paragraph justification with consistent spacing, which automatically suggests the minimal content edits and minimal typographic parameter modifications for enhancing your justification with consistently spaced text. So yeah, over to you, Ashish.
Thank you, Arushi. So, okay. Our idea is mainly divided into two core phases. The first phase is about minimal content edits. Yeah, the first phase is about suggesting to the user the minimal content edits that can be done on the justified text. So let's see how this phase works from the Uber level. So first, what our proposed system does is, it takes the input text where the justification is applied, right? It feeds it to our machine learning model system, which tries to find the minimal content edits that can be used, right? It tries to suggest multiple suggestions. And then, on the basis of some intelligent algorithm, we try to find the best suggestions among them, which significantly improves the text color. Let's see how exactly we are doing that. So what we do is, we firstly try to find the number of characters that can be added or subtracted in each of the lines that should ideally make a line justified or fully justified, right? So we are calling this as penalty. And then what we do is, we use a machine learning algorithm called as text-to-text transfer transformer, or in other words, T5 algorithm, to find the paraphrased suggestions of those lines which has a high penalty value. And then, based on the number of characters that needs to be modified, or in other words, the penalty, we try to find the best minimal content editing suggestions that should significantly improve it. Simple. And then we repeat this across the whole text. Then, for the phase 2, what we do is, we try to modify the typographic parameters, right, in a minimal kind of a range, in order to further justify the text or further improve the type color. So how we exactly do it is, first we try to modify some of the typographic parameters like word spacing, glyph scaling, and that too in a minimal range. So right now, we by default, we have defined a minimal range of 0 to 5%. Why this minimal range is? Because it will ensure that the changes are quite minimal and are not much, that can't be much perceived by the user, that are not much perceivable. Also, not only this, we are also making this as user configurable, so that user can decide himself which values to use, this user configurable parameter. Now what we do is, simply we take a min range and max range within this range and use binary search to find the right parameter value, which can be used to improve the penalty value. And wherever we receive the highest score, wherever the penalty reduces the most, we use that. And both these phases, the output of both these phases together, that is the minimal content editing suggestions and this typographic parameter values modification. Together, we use them, recompose our text, and show it to the user for review. Now, let's try to understand it through an example. So now, this is the sample text frame where you can see it consists of two different paragraphs, right? You can clearly see that the first paragraph is quite loosely spaced, while the second paragraph is quite tightly spaced. Now let's see how this would look with our solution. So the text frame on the left is the original text, but the text frame on the right is the text with our solution applied. You can clearly see that the text is quite, consistently spaced, right? You can see that. Or is it just me I'm saying? Okay, so let's try to analyze this, how we can say that this is evenly spaced. So in order to visualize this, what we have done is we have represented each of the spacing characters through this color. So you can clearly see the color spacing in the original text. For the first paragraph, it's quite loosely spaced. The space width is quite more with respect to the second paragraph, as it's tightly spaced. But with our solution applied, the spacing is more consistent across both of the paragraphs. This is one way of visualizing this, of how it's improved. There is another way how we can visualize this, at least I heard from some of the type designers. What we can do is, we can actually try to zoom out the text. And that way, we can try to visualize how the type color is improved. So here, you can see the type color on zooming out. The original text has different kind of type colors across both of the paragraphs, but at least on the right, it provides improved type color, and that too consistent type color across both of the paragraphs. Now the color is improved, but what are the kind of suggestions that have been suggested by a system? So let's try to even visualize the kind of minimal content changes done in the same paragraphs. So as you can see, the bold text on the right with our solution applied represents the minimal content edits that have been suggested by our system. So it's minimal. Say if you look at the first line, it says Adobe Ink, originally called Adobe System, has been replaced by Adobe Ink, originally known as Adobe Systems. Similarly, the next change, which shows it has historically specialized in software, has been replaced by it has history of specializing in software. So this minimal content editing changes, right? This has the power to improve your justification to a greater level. So that's why it saves a lot of efforts for you. And not only this, you can see these, right? But what we are claiming is these are just suggestions, right? So what we do is we provide a power to the user to review all these changes. Whenever the solution is applied, we show all the minimal content changes being done by the user in a UI, and user can even accept or reject any of those changes. That power lies with our users, right? And our system is intelligent enough to remember those whatever changes user has accepted or rejected. So that, say, I reject some of these changes, I don't like this, right? So on the next rerun of our solution again, it remembers like whatever the changes have been rejected, and on again rerunning the algorithm, it remembers that and try to suggest some different changes other than the rejected changes. So yeah, that's it. That was from our solution. So our solution leads to visually pleasing text paragraph layouts in a click of a second, right? Significantly save user efforts in justification of text, and helps in getting consistent spacing across the paragraphs. We also provide the user with various kind of power to the user, whether they can even accept or reject any of those changes. So that's it from us. So what we do is we are providing this solution, but yes, we'll be happy to hear more suggestions from you and how to improve this. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, quick presentation. Any questions and any suggestions, we are open to.
That was great. I wonder if you have thought about ragged right. I don't mean that as a solution. There are Europeans here probably who say, why would you justify? But say that the reason you justify is that people in your audience expect it. But in some cases, even with justified text, you'll use ragged right and say decks or subheads. And my constant battle is that the typesetters or the people who are doing the text or the copy are not justifying according to phrase. They're like, as you see in your justified examples, there are a lot of prepositions and articles that are separated from their phrase on the previous line. But in ragged right, you could easily put them on put the phrases, what I call phrase ragging. Have you thought about that? Could you do that? And why doesn't Adobe do that?
So definitely, this is a good suggestion. Yes, we are open to it. Like, we are still working on this solution. We'll like to improve it more and more, and that's where we take it as a suggestion. We can even connect later to this, and after this meeting, and connect more on how we can improve this solution.
This is fascinating to watch, especially since what your system is doing is what I do, I kept saying automatically, not at all automatically, by hand. It's what Olaf Martin Cavern calls walking the lines to find what you need to change. And of course, today, the question is, how do you do that in a way that's flexible when not just the content might change, but the content might be repurposed in a different format. It might be variable layout on screen. Is that something, because you're talking about fixed text. When you're finished, it's done, it's printed. Have you thought about that?
So what I get is you are saying you need kind of variable, like you need to run this solution even when your text is not finalized, right?
Not just that, but if it is final, but it's going to be repurposed in other formats.
Into other
would you run through the system again for each format? Is that the solution to that?
It depends. Like, you can, of course, rerun the solution again if you have different kind of formats or layouts, right, where you need to use the same text. You can run system again, right? So it will try to adapt to whatever formats you are trying to adapt your text to.
We can take questions.
Thank you. Love your presentation. And I'm wondering if you will develop these things. I mean, when you adopt to choose a multi-script type setting, especially when I'm trading like maybe the Arabic text setting in Latin, or maybe mixing add some Latin text into Chinese type setting. But for Chinese, we usually use the justify type setting. But sometimes we insert something, it will break the justified column. And also for Arabic, I found the justification alternate form, this OpenAI feature is not that always available in Adobe. So I'm wondering if we will make these kind of like improvements or some maybe updates these things made into your engine.
So we can connect offline with these requests. Right,
sorry.
pose this.
It's about maybe make your engine fit some other script, for instance, like CJK setting or some Arabic setting, especially when we are facing some some multi-script type setting, like mixing Chinese and Latin, or Arabic and Latin, or maybe Arabic only, because the Chinese and Arabic also have some difficulties when we do the fully justified text.
So currently our POC solution only supports Latin, but yeah, we are open to other languages as well, and we will definitely connect later after that with you in order to know more information about other languages and more problems that you're facing in justification in those languages, and we were happy to extend our solution to those languages as well. Definitely.
Any other questions?
Hi. So this is your world. This is like your complete focus, and you must have looked at a lot of different typefaces in justified settings. And as a type designer, I have the question in my head of, do you think that typefaces that are unitized in that, the character I might be 1 unit, the lowercase n might be 2 units, the m would be 3. Do you think that results in a more pleasing rhythm across a justified setting? I mean, if I think about the way lead type was used, there was limitations on the widths, as far as I understand, that a designer could use. And so the increments that you would put in the spaces between the words was like unitized as well, so that made it easier to justify. I feel like that's kind of been lost in the transition to digital, and I often wonder whether going back to that would result in some benefits. Like, for example, the initial, I think, digitizations of Optima and Dante and some other fonts are unitized. What's your opinion on that?
What should I say? Actually, my understanding is a little bit limited there. So, would you like to add to it? So, also definitely, at least personally, me, I am more focused on Latin kind of languages, right? And yes, that's why we are here. We love to hear more from you and learn from you as well, right? How we can improve this, right? The way you suggested, like all these characters have different kind of widths. So we can learn more from you post this, like how we can improve our solution just for justification by catering to these kind of scenarios.
G. Thank you.
Maybe a last question before the break.
Just a comment on that, the unit system was an approximation, a simplification for creating justified type, for creating type, mechanized type. I mean, we should go back to before that solution was imposed when you had a certain number of units. So in one sense, it would be a step back. It might be useful, but I just want to point out historically, that's not the starting point.
Thank you.
One more question.
Okay, more questions.
It seems like this is very well suited to fixed layouts that you would be working on, for example, in InDesign. But when we think about the responsive web, a lot of this is impractical. For example, choosing alternate words, or most of the time that would be an impractical solution. But what parts of this, also some of the work that you're doing, I would imagine, is computationally expensive and takes maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred milliseconds or a second or more. I don't know, some of the machine learning stuff. What parts of your solution do you think could be applied to the web or to responsive layouts? Maybe it could be in Adobe XD for interface design, but like basically which are suitable for responsive layouts and performant enough to be kind of refreshed quickly when the layout changes?
Sure. So firstly, we are already working on the performance aspect, right? I know machine learning model can take some point of time, some time to give those suggestions, but our model is still, we are working towards improving this, right? And where it can be more useful on the web layouts or responsive layouts is, you can consider like these two different phases, right? One is, of course, suggestions. It might be of use to you or not use to you. That depends upon, from designer to designer. But the second part, like where we are even trying to, modify the typographic parameters within a minimal range, that can be also quite helpful to, to set the text on the go. Right, and again, how we are doing is we are doing it using heuristics. So that's quite on-the-go calculations, which is quite fast. So that way, it can also be leveraged there as well.
Thank you.
Sorry. Any other questions? That's it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.